words, and if anybody else would like to come up. There's some funny stories and other things that have been shared with me from the Midwest and from local. One thing, as these people that I'm about to speak about are leaving. So on Winding Way, I was told recently, I was reminded that Dad had a Winding Way basketball team, and there was a rivalry between Winding Way and Apple Tree Road, and quite the rivalry. And I was told that Winding Way did not often come up on top.
But Winding Way was, we had the cheerleaders.
Oh, Winding Way had the cheerleaders, yes. So we had some big guys. I guess Dad was in the center, and others were big guys. Big guys, great things. He wasn't big. I remember. He was the point guard. Okay, yeah. But so they had a lot of good fun there. But the other group in Winding Way was the poker, and also down between others around. So that was a lot of fun. One of Dad's good buddies, so they played poker, and heard some funny stories about it. Once you play a long time with a bunch of these guys, you end up kind of knowing each other's tells. But Pete Summers was saying that my dad didn't really have it. Oh no, he did have a tell. He finally did have a tell, and he would kind of get excited a little bit when he had a good hand, like a little bit of a movement there. So Pete, I guess, started, and he said, but even though Dad would come out on top, oh, they were all fold, right? So when they saw Dad had a good day. That's it. So yeah, they had a group name. I'm not going to be able to pronounce it. Rippling Brook Non-Ecclesiastic.
Don't ask me what.
So the Rippling Brook was apparently what the neighborhood was called, of course, when it went. So there's a whole bunch of things here I can share. Why don't we just go into the St. Olaf football team? So Dad was part of this group that was All-American and won the championship 2 years in a row. I mentioned some of this in the eulogy, but just fast forward here. So senior year, we did very well. Oh, so here's so a lot of these guys Dad roomed with off and on campus, and Dave continued to enjoy playing guitar and enjoyed playing endless games of cribbage with his classmates. They would come in, and he says Dave was very popular because of his sense of humor and serious nature. Because he had a sense of humor, but he had a serious nature also. So he had funny, but then when it came down to cracking down on his work, he was very serious with that. But very serious when it came to athletics and with the schoolwork and everything. He says it was noteworthy that in football, that Dad played both offensive and defensive tackle. He did the kickoffs, and in his last game as a senior, he actually played the last quarter as quarterback. I just learned that myself. And he actually he has the different things here. So one of the guys on the team was a guy named Bill Winter, who actually ended up playing for 4 years or so with the New York Giants. And so it says Winter off tackle, 15 yards. Winter off tackle, Winter. And then David Hindermann. Hindermann hands off to Dietrich, 4 yards. Hindermann hands off to Oppinger, 4 yards. Hindermann hands off to Anderson, 6 yards. Punts, and then Hindermann to Everson for 8. It's kind of neat. I didn't know that. And of course, this also is part of Dad's, he doesn't let everybody know his glories all the time. So that's been wonderful hearing some of these stories. Let's see here. So here's another guy, Verge Foss. By the way, this here was Mel Cook, this previous one. And this is from Verge Foss. He says, joining my teammates in remembering Hindi, they call them. I played both basketball and football with him and made sure that I was not close to the basket when he went up for the rebound. So he was, and that's something you heard, is that he had the rebound, I guess he had the most rebounds or some kind of, In football, I was a little scat back, he calls himself, and always looking for those big bodies up front, and Hindi was always very steady. We had a great line in senior year. I would wait for them to make a couple of blocks and then sneak around and hopefully for a couple of yards. I enjoyed your dad very much. A smile was present and always a good conversation. So that's a nice thing here. Okay, here's a funny story. Also on the football team. So as you know, St. Olaf is a very Norwegian, Minnesota in general, Scandinavian Norwegian. So all the names are Norse sounding names. So, but then all of a sudden you had Dad, who was a very German. Dad was half Norwegian, but Hindermann, and then the other guy's Bill Dietrich. So, and they were on the right side of the line. So the joke was that this was St. Olaf's attempt for diversity. We got diversity, we got the Germans over there, A couple other stories here. He also mentioned that Dave and Dietrich, Bill and Dave would be on the right side, and after every game there would be a lot of statistics, and it would be the blocking statistics, the right side versus the left side. And whoever got the better blocks or the more blocks had to buy, or the other team had to, or the other side had to buy them malted milks. I don't know if that's really malted milks or malted milks. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, we can move on to. Here's some memories from Ken Collins, who was one of Dad's good friends at graduate school in Wisconsin. He says that they met there and they were in chemistry together. They had various chemistry classes. They were in different areas of chemistry, but certainly a lot of the same classes. He says our backgrounds could not have been more different. Dave, a Norwegian Lutheran from Minnesota, and me, a somewhat pushy New York Jew. Which I beg to differ, actually, talking with the nicest guy. But we somehow hit it off and became friends and buddies. He says, early in our friendship, Dave married Sue, and I attended their wedding. And I was a frequent guest for dinner, ice skating, and other activities. We got a good education on what it's like to grow up Lutheran, Scandinavian American, in the Midwestern community. And he says he was exceptionally lonely when he began graduate school, never having lived in the Midwest. And Dad really took him under his wing and made him feel good. So that's another deal. Let's see. So, yeah. But yeah, I mentioned some of the other words in the eulogy, so I think just a good testament to Dad. Does anybody want to relieve me? I can break it up here, but some other funny stories here. Anybody else? You want to take over? Okay.
For those who know young children, and I knew David for a very long time since we moved into the area. Dave and Sue were always very welcoming to every new people that came to our church, which was absolutely great, because you walked in, you don't know anyone, and here comes this towering man with his beautiful wife, and say, oh, you knew. How you like our church? We would love you to come over here more often. And that's how we became really good friends and members of the church. Today, when Mark was doing the eulogy, and he mentioned that when Dave was born, his parents didn't give him the name for about 10 days. And something struck me. There was a reason for it. Naming him Dave, because as you know, in Hebrew, Dave means beloved and friend to everyone. So they saw their little baby already as a beloved human being, friends to everybody, powerful. And as you know, I'm sure if you are historians, you know that many kings were given names of David. and especially in Scottish culture or in Welsh culture. You know, the name of David was always extremely powerful as a power of strength, and not only because he was tall and big, but also because compassionate. And Dave and both Jen said that, you know, how compassionate Dave was, and we really, truly miss that person. And Pastor mentioned in his sermon, yeah, Dave is already with his Jesus, and he is with Sue. He's in the upper room. I have to tell you that he's in the upper room. You know why? Because we, a group of us, there were 12 of us over here, used to meet every year in the upper room at William Penn in Pennsylvania. And we called ourselves the Upper Room Friends. And we always used to meet for Christmas, before Christmas, and that was a terrific occasion. There were 12 of us, now it's only 10 because Sue was gone and then eventually Dave. And all the other friends moved away from here. It's only me and Bob. And we still try to meet once in a while, sometimes in Virginia, sometimes in Delaware, sometimes in Pennsylvania. But yeah, this is the upper room of 12 of us that keep in contact together. And we definitely, truly miss Dave very much. And I just have to say something about Mark, what a devoted son he was to his father. He won't let his father go up to the last minute. He was trying absolutely everything, talking to the doctors, to the health. You have to help him, you have to keep going. And that was absolutely amazing, you know, the devotion of both of his children, but especially Mark. You know, it was extremely, probably very, very hard for him to go through this, seeing his father in pain. But also Mark has a very deep faith, and he also said, I know that God is going to see us through it. And he did see through it. And you are such a wonderful young man that any mother would really like to have. And God bless you all.
Anybody else?
And it was mentioned by everybody about Dave, but Dave was a man of warmth and compassion. He looked for the best in others and always had a positive view of life. He spoke with wit and wisdom. Dave was a good friend, and we really greatly miss him. And he was definitely extremely intelligent, very knowledgeable, and as we all know, he would never let anybody know about it. He always was so gentle with everybody. One more thing, it's not a funny thing, but he loved flowers. And we had this in common. Dave and I used to compare what flowers is he going to plant around his deck and what flowers I'm going to plant about my deck. And then we cried, okay, the deer ate everything, the game. What are we going to do now? So I'm really going to miss that very much. Have a blessed Christmas.
Should I bore you some more? Unless there's somebody else. I'll just keep going. Switching gears now to I'm just reading a lot of the outpouring. It's all the same message though. It's just amazing the outpouring. And I'm not going to read everybody's, but this was kind of interesting. So I mentioned earlier that mom and dad lived in New Jersey in the 60s before going to Chicago. And they met their dear friends Margaret and Terry Riley there. Really, really good friends throughout the years. I mean, not just in the 60s, but coming back to Jersey, and they've kept in touch ever since. And the Rileys live in Utah now, so they've been out there quite a few times. But really funny stories here. So one funny story, they would do a lot of stuff together. They worked together actually at Bell Labs. So the wives knew each other. They lived in the same apartment complex that the AT&T would put there are people from out of town, and so they met there. And so one of the funny early memories were in Toronto, Canada. They went to Montreal Exposition, and they shared a camping tent with Sue and Dave. And they crossed into the border into Canada, and the customs official asked what Terry, and Margaret Terry, of course, I probably didn't mention, they're from England, so they said, what's your nationality? And they said, instead of just saying British, he said, great British. So it was like kind of a funny thing that they got a kick out of. This is funny. So then they're camping out, and Dave emerged from the tent and discovered that Terry was applying polish to his black shoes. And Dave was astounded to learn that in school days, Terry had been required by his parents to polish his black shoes every day. And then Dave says, with his sense of humor, he said, even on a camping trip? So they got a kick out of that for many years. But here's a funny story again. She says most of all, Dave's humor was always at the forefront. And when Sue did a few unexpected, unintentional funny things, especially. So one time when, Mom was getting her master's degree in the 60s when they were out in New Jersey. And, but also she was modeling back in those days. So she had a modeling gig, I guess you would call it, on the same day that she had a really important final. So she was up late that night before studying, and she was worried that she would have the bags under her eyes and that kind of thing. And so she reached over by her bedside table and reached for what she thought was, lotion to sort of moisturize her face. And she felt something was wrong, so she turned on the light, and she found out that instead of moisturizer, it was black ink. So that was the days where you'd have black ink apparently on the side. I can't imagine, isn't that, anyway, but that was, so obviously then lots of fun. And then another time, they ran out of toilet paper. And Sue would start putting anything like Kleenex or cable napkins in the bathroom. And they came over to our house and, so they came over and Dave suddenly burst into laughter. He said he went into their bathroom to find a stack of their wedding napkins. But to recap this one, he said, Terry and I have spent many happy hours with Sue and Dave. They were both wonderful people, always kind and thoughtful, and full of love for their friends and family. We've missed Sue very much, and now we will miss Dave. He was very brave and stoic after Sue passed away. Sue was the love of his life, filling his life with laughter, love, and fun. And when he was diagnosed with Parkinson's, we know that he had to be even braver. He never complained to us and always accepted it as God's will and that he could surmount it. We believe his faith and his quiet sense of humor and his love of his family gave him strength. We will cherish all of our memories, all of our special friends. Dave will be missed by all the people who basked in his gentle demeanor and loved him for his kindness, tolerance, and thoughtfulness. With all loving wishes. So I think we'll probably end with that as far as, unless somebody else has something. I think that says it all. So thanks, everybody.